I would like to give the floor to our last keynote speaker, Mr. Sergei Honcharuk, who is the works in the research laboratory of the Military Institute for Tank Troops in Kharkiv. The floor is yours, Sergey. Yeah, thank you, Alexander. The use of interactive methods of distance learning to study troop C2 procedures. Well, actually, it's all about making our cadets curious. And curiosity is one of the important components of strategic thinking while making decisions. That's why we tried to apply and teach the students how to generate this ability to work with curiosity, how to apply the methodology of generating questions created by the Institute of Correct or Good Questions. That's from the US Institute. First, we have taught our students how to correctly pose the questions. And for that, for each distance, for each e-learning class, we have selected a separate chapter, which is labeled "Ask a question, pose a question to your instructor." And those questions should be focused on how the instructor could suggest to improve on the available knowledge base of the students. So the instructors, after receiving such questions from the students, would then be discussing it next day. After that, we have streamlined this approach, went beyond the learning, namely started using it in the mixed format. On the previous day, the students generate the questions. Overnight, the instructor generalizes them. Next day starts with a poll, which of the questions they would dedicate a separate workshop for. The students would vote for the shortlist. Then the shortlist of questions will form the content of the next workshop. And then the moment comes when you need to learn how to practically apply them, those skills of generating questions while making tactical decisions. So when you have the need to make tactical decisions, the first stage for students would be to generate questions. Second stage would be to learn how to evolve those questions from simple to more complex. And then it would be discussed at the level of the crew when the commander discusses the questions of his crew members, because the captain of the tank will have to be able to pass quick combat tactical decisions based on the questions generated by the crew members. And we can then observe the thinking process that it took them, the crew members, to pass the relevant decision. So that's our plans with e-learning on how to foster curiosity. So how to formulate the questions? Do you have any algorithm this need? Is it quite a imaginative issue whether questions are good or bad? So how do you decide that? There are more than 30 methodologies to create pose questions. Actually, in the world, it's called questioning. We call it curiosity, or the skill to ask questions. The questions should not be very simple, requiring only the direct answers, yes or no. So then the instructor ranks them, interpretation, clarifying, explaining, and the better the question, the higher the mark.
Чи можливо ще якісь новітні та нестандартні підходи розглядаєте, враховуючи, можливо, ви або співпрацюєте, да, з інститутом правильних питань, чи ви просто цікавитесь?
Maybe you are aware of any other approaches. Do you have communications with the respective researchers? So maybe you have other developments that you intend to implement. Well, overall, I believe that to ask the right question is quite a complicated thing, both for the trainer, who is supposed to control students' knowledge, and for the students, who needs to know how to ask the question in that way that the trainer gives him an answer that he needs. So we went through it. We were working with the Institute of the Right Questions. Now we are trying to implement some other methodologies about the right way to word out a question about something that you don't understand. While the methodology developed by this Institute of the Right Decisions gives you already an answer how you word the question correctly. Thank you very much for your presentation, for participation in our conference.